John here, guys, and today we are talking about the Eachine Twig. Now, this is an excellent value for one of these very light, micro-sized FPV 3-inch flyers that are available today on the market. But let's talk about the elephant in the room before we get on to just how good or bad this thing is. And that is that the name was taken from the Racer X Twig. Now, if you actually look at the frames, holding them bottom up right here next to each other, you can see this is actually not a clone. It's definitely sort of inspired by, but the frame design, layout, the amount of stretch, even the arm shape is different in almost every aspect. And had they not actually just ripped the name off, I probably would have just given them a pass on this. But it's really sad to see them trying to capitalize on what one of these very small outfits, Byron Racer X, has created this outstanding frame kind of on a bubble on his own. He doesn't work for one of these large guys like Catalyst Machine Works or Armatan or one of these guys. And it's always frustrating enough when we see some of these companies cloning their items. You know, especially like the Floss or whatever. I mean, I think the Slam Nasty was cloned before it was even released. I mean, it's just terrible stuff, guys. But this one really wasn't done in that way. And so the only thing that I can think of is that they're trying to capitalize on the name, brand awareness that this guy has already created by himself. And there are a lot of frames that come and go, guys. And very few have this spark of popularity like the Twig has. And for them to just try to take that same name and run with it when it's obviously so inspired by, it's just, it leaves kind of a bad taste in your mouth. I really wish they would have called it anything. If they would have called it the Stick, I'd be like, okay, you know, no big deal. But they're clearly, you know, it looks enough like it that people who are not as in tune to some of this stuff may get it confused. And what you don't want to see happen is that somebody think that they're getting this when they get this. So let's put that aside, and I'll tell you what my recommendation is for how to resolve that issue at the end. Now, this thing is a 3-inch flyer with 1105 5200 kV motors that are meant to be flown on 3S. There is two different options on here. You can get one with the Runcam Nano 2 or one with the Caddx Baby Turtles. This is the Baby Turtles HD version. And one of the things that I was most interested to find out was how it flew compared to that iFlight Cinepic that I recently reviewed. Because the motor sizes on both are the same. The camera on board is actually the same. They're both running on 3S. Now this is running that Crazy Bee V3 board. It has, you know, the little, it's not the Diamond VTX, but it's the one that's the same as that, but without the DVR built in. And then of course it has the board for the Baby Turtles. And the Baby Turtles is actually a really fantastic camera. It works very well. It kind of defaults to just recording as soon as you turn or plug in. I don't really love the fact that the SD card seems like it might be in danger of popping out if you crash just the right way, but that's a minor gripe. I really like this pod design. This is actually totally unique. It's nothing like the other Twig. And it's sort of an injected, molded, very firm plastic. If you were flying this like on a 4-inch quad that was going like 90 miles an hour, I probably wouldn't recommend this, but on something that you're going to be cruising HD with, it's very good. And some of those more cushiony ones can give you a little bit of wobbles in your HD feed. In fact, a lot of people suspect that that's the source of the jello in the iFlight Cinepic. So with this thing, I was like, whoa, this should solve the little jello problems. And it's actually almost 20 grams lighter than the Cinepic. So, whoa, this should be everything we've always wanted in one of these little HD micros and more. And the latency on the Caddx Baby Turtles is actually not bad. I find it a lot better than, say, the Turtles 2, which was the last really good HD camera by Caddx, in my opinion. I'm not in love with the Tarsier. Well, as you know, when I get these, I like to fly them out of the box because that's how a lot of people are going to do. A lot of people are going to get these. They're not going to know how to tune. They're just going to go out and fly it. So that's how I do. I try to fly them when possible with the included props. These are these old gem fans, the 3052Rs. Now these were great 2 years ago, but now why include anything other than the new gem fan or the HQ 3x2? They're just not as good for our purposes. I mean, they still have plenty of speed, but I think they're a little bit too high pitched. The tune out of this thing on the box, it's just not good, guys. It doesn't fly very well, and I was so disappointed because I thought it was going to be better than the Cinepic, and the Cinepic flies so much better. Is it the motors? I don't know. I mean, I kind of do want to go spend some time tuning this thing and trying to figure out, how it can be better. But out of the box, it just doesn't fly that great for getting HD. So here's what I would recommend. Just skip out on the Turtles version of this. $130. It's still a pretty good price for the Turtles if you just want that HD. But the tune is just not good enough. You're not going to get super smooth footage. The Cinepic is actually a lot smoother, although it is way more expensive than this. What I would recommend is getting the very inexpensive version with the Runcam Nano 2. You can get those. I've seen them for as low as like $80, $85. Get that. And then here's what you do, guys. I don't know how long this frame is going to last, so go ahead and buy yourself one of the Racer X Twig frames. Support the guy who actually came out with the Twig name. This is a very good option. You can transplant all that stuff over to the real Twig frame. Then you have really something special, and you're still in for only about $100. And then you have a little bit of extra spare parts. You can choose to run this Twig canopy or this Twig canopy. Either one will be totally fine. That's kind of my recommendation. And then for heaven's sake, guys, they're really just kind of skimping out on their build quality. Like the wires here are not taped down or zip tied down or anchored down anywhere. It just looks a little sloppy. But the components themselves are plenty fine and plenty good. It has this crap strap on here that nobody likes. And it's kind of threaded through the dang frame. So you'll want to just get rid of that as you're swapping everything over. Run this nice little battery holder right here on the real Twig that works perfectly. I think you'll actually make it a little bit better flight that way. That's my recommendation. Get yourself the best of both worlds because this really is a lot for the money. And you don't really need that super extra awesome smoothness that you would get on the other type of craft. So I do like that Eachine is putting out some fairly good quality, very inexpensive options that are in line with all of the popular things going on right now. Very light, good power, flies pretty well. I wish they put a little bit more time on in the tune. It feels like the rates are a little bit too high and twitchy. But overall, good effort by Eachine. If you want to get in on this Twig craze for an inexpensive price, go ahead and snag one up. Thanks, guys.